What if your fated mate wasn't human, but the son of the devil himself, and he's coming to claim you tonight? Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Snap of Two Hearts, your go-to channel for steamy, swoon-worthy, and irresistibly romantic stories. If you're into forbidden love, devilish charm, and unexpected passion, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Snap of Two Hearts. And hey, if you want this story turned into a full-blown book, drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to write more just for you. Everyone warned me not to enter the Black Forest, especially on the night of the blood moon. Legends said creatures came out when the moon turned red, hunting for their destined mates. But curiosity pulled me in. My name is Alina, and I've always felt like I didn't belong in this world. Too different, too drawn to danger, too full of desire I never understood. Until I met him. He stepped out of the shadows like he was born from them, tall and terrifyingly beautiful, with glowing red eyes and a smirk that made my knees weak. His voice wrapped around me like velvet when he said, "You finally came." I tried to run, but he moved faster than my thoughts. In a blink, his hand was around my waist, pulling me against his chest. He was warm, no, burning, and I gasped at the contact. "Don't be afraid," he whispered near my ear. "I've waited lifetimes for you." His breath sent shivers down my spine. I should have screamed, but instead I clutched his shirt. He smelled like fire and midnight, and I hated how good it made me feel. My heart pounded, but not from fear, from something far more dangerous, lust. Who are you?" I asked. "Lucien," he said with a wicked smile. "The devil's son, and you're mine." He kissed me before I could process what that meant. His lips were rough, demanding, yet impossibly soft. My mouth parted for him on instinct, and he devoured me like he was starving. His tongue slid against mine, tasting, claiming, setting my soul on fire. My body betrayed me, arching into him, pressing against his hard form, aching for more. "You feel it too," he growled, pulling away just enough to look into my eyes. "The bond? The need? You were made for me, Alina. My fated mate." My body pulsed at his words. I should have fought it. Instead, I whispered, "Then take me." He lifted me like I weighed nothing, carrying me deeper into the forest. The trees bent away from him. The ground lit with sparks under his feet. He laid me on a bed of soft moss beneath a canopy of stars. Moonlight bathed us both. He hovered over me, brushing my hair from my face, looking at me like I was his whole world. "Are you sure?" he asked, voice trembling with restraint. I nodded. "I want to feel you. All of you." That was all he needed. He kissed me again, slower this time, trailing kisses down my neck, my collarbone, my chest. Each touch left heat, magic, and something else, something ancient awakening in my blood. Clothes disappeared under his touch like they were never real. He worshipped every inch of my body with his hands, his mouth, his tongue. My skin burned wherever he touched. When he finally slid inside me, I cried out, not from pain, but from the overwhelming rush of pleasure. He moved slowly at first, giving me time, reading my body. But as the bond deepened, so did our hunger. Our rhythm became wild, desperate, raw. "You're mine!" He moaned against my lips, gripping my hips as we moved in sync like a dance older than time. I screamed his name as wave after wave of ecstasy tore through me. He kissed away my cries, my tears, my soul, until I belonged fully, completely to him. The stars above us shimmered, but none could outshine the look in Lucien's eyes. As our bodies settled from the waves of passion, he didn't let me go. Instead, he wrapped me in his arms and kissed my forehead like I was fragile, like I mattered. "You're everything I imagined, and more," he whispered, his voice husky with emotion. I'd never felt so seen, so cherished. I laid my head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat, deep, steady, and powerful. Does this mean we're mated now? I asked softly. He brushed a strand of hair from my cheek and smiled. Not just mated. You're my queen now, Alina, my eternal match. We stayed under the trees until the moon began to fade. Lucian dressed me gently, his fingers lingering against my skin like he didn't want to let go. I need to take you to my world, he said. You're changing. The bond has awakened your powers, and my realm will protect you. I stared at him, startled. Your world? He nodded. Hell, but not like the stories. You'll see. My kingdom is darkness and fire. But you'll be the light. I hesitated. My old life felt like a dream now. Could I really leave it all behind? But when he reached for my hand and kissed my palm, I knew the answer. Take me with you. The journey was surreal. Lucian opened a portal with a flick of his fingers, and flames danced around us like golden ribbons. We stepped into a realm of crimson skies, obsidian mountains, and rivers that glowed like molten gold. The air vibrated with power, and every creature bowed as we passed. They sense the bond, Lucian murmured. They know you belong to me. A palace carved from dark crystal loomed in the distance, majestic and fierce. He carried me through its gates like a bride, straight into a chamber where the walls pulsed with heat and the bed was draped in velvet shadows. This, he growled, lowering me onto the silk sheets, is where I make you scream again. This time was different, slower, deeper. He undressed me like I was a gift he couldn't wait to unwrap, kissing every inch of my skin as if memorizing me. His mouth explored places that made me tremble, made me gasp. When he entered me again, our bodies fit together perfectly, moving with rhythm and reverence. He gripped my wrists, holding them above my head, his teeth grazing my neck. I could lose myself in you, he confessed. My heart swelled. Then do it, I whispered. Lose yourself in me. He did. Our moans echoed off the walls, mingling with firelight and shadows until we collapsed in each other's arms, breathless and reborn. Later, as I lay tangled in his arms, Lucian traced symbols across my stomach. You're carrying my mark now, he said. A piece of my soul lives inside you. I looked down, and sure enough, a glowing sigil shimmered just above my navel, delicate, beautiful, alive. What does it mean? I asked. It means you're bound to me, body, soul, and magic. No one can take you from me now. His possessiveness should have scared me, but instead, it thrilled me. I reached up, pulled him down into another kiss, and whispered, Then mark me again, Lucian. All night. He grinned, wicked and wild, and obeyed. The days blurred into nights in Lucian's world. Every moment with him felt like a fevered dream. His lips, his touch, the way he whispered my name like a prayer and a promise. Yet beneath the pleasure, I sensed something deeper, something ancient pulsing inside me. One night, as Lucian traced circles across my bare back, I asked, Why me? Why was I chosen? He kissed my shoulder, then rested his forehead against mine. Because you are not just my mate, Alina. You're the prophecy, the one who will bring balance between the realms. My chest tightened. Me? He nodded slowly. You carry light into darkness, and darkness will protect your light. The weight of his words didn't stop him from making love to me with the same unrelenting passion. That night, he tied my hands with red silk, his eyes glowing as he whispered, Do you trust me? I did. Fully. And when he lowered his mouth to my inner thigh, teasing me slowly, I arched against the bed, crying out for more. He tasted me like a man starved, worshipped my body like I was sacred. And when he finally took me, deep and slow, Every thrust sent sparks of power through me. "You make me feel alive," he moaned into my neck. "You make me whole," I whispered back. But passion wasn't the only thing rising between us. Power stirred inside me, and one night as Lucian kissed me into madness, flames burst from my fingertips. The bed was surrounded by golden fire, but it didn't burn. It danced with energy, wrapping around us. Lucian paused, eyes wide. "It's begun," he murmured. "The mate bond has unlocked your magic." I sat up, heart racing, light pulsing beneath my skin. "What am I?" He looked at me with awe. "Something this realm has never seen. You're not just my queen. You're a goddess becoming." My breath caught. But even with magic awakening, my need for him never dulled. "Then worship me," I teased, pulling him back to my lips. "With every breath you have." And he did. Again and again. On the throne, on the balcony under burning stars, in the enchanted bath filled with roses and black oil. He marked me with every kiss, every bite, every deep stroke. Sometimes slow and loving, sometimes wild and punishing. Our love was fire and shadow, silk and steel. He held me as I cried after pleasure took over my body. He kissed the tears, telling me I was everything he never thought he deserved. "I don't care what the prophecy says," he growled one night. "Even if fate turns against us, I'll burn every realm to keep you." My lips trembled. "Then let's burn it together." But even in the most passionate nights, a whisper crept into my dreams. A warning. A shadowed figure in a cloak spoke to me. "The devil's son is not the only one who wants your power, Alina." I woke, panting in Lucian's arms, drenched in sweat. He stirred beside me, instantly alert. "What did you see?" I told him about the dreams. His jaw clenched and his grip on me tightened. "Someone's watching you, someone from the old world." His voice dropped to a growl. "If they try to take you, they'll feel what true wrath is." I buried my face in his chest. "Promise me, Lucian." He cupped my chin and kissed me. "On my soul, no one will ever touch you. But me." Lucian became more protective after the dream started. He placed ancient wards around our bed, summoned shadow wolves to guard our chamber, and refused to leave my side for even a second. "They won't touch you," he repeated like a prayer. But even his possessiveness couldn't silence the fire growing inside me. My body ached for more than just his touch. I craved power, truth, and the freedom to burn anything that tried to chain me again. Still, at night, I let him take control. I loved the way he pinned me against the cold stone walls, how he groaned my name when I wrapped my legs around his waist and whispered, "Yours, only yours." We made love like war, fast, fevered, and desperate. He bent me over the edge of the throne, tore my dress like it was paper, and devoured every inch of me. His hands were rough, his lips relentless. I clawed at his back, kneading him inside me deep and hard. When he finally pushed in, I screamed his name, trembling as he took me higher than ever before. "Say it," he demanded. "Say who you belong to." "You," I gasped. "Lucian, my king, my mate." He bit down on my neck, sealing the claim, his mark blazing as hot as his thrusts. And when I shattered around him, the entire palace pulsed with our magic. But pleasure wasn't our only companion. One night, during a storm, a message arrived. Burned into the skin of a raven, the warning was clear. "The throne will fall, and the queen will bleed." Lucian growled, flames flickering from his fingertips. "It's the elders, the old court. They think they can break you to use your power." My stomach twisted. "Then let them come." Lucian turned to me, firelight dancing in his eyes. "You'd fight? For you?" I stepped closer, touching his chest. For us? I'd become the monster they fear. He stared at me like I was fire and salvation. Then I'll be your sword, he whispered, and your shield. We trained in the courtyard, surrounded by obsidian warriors and enchanted flame. I learned to wield power with my hands, with my lips, with my soul. But every lesson ended the same. Lucian pinning me to the floor, breathless and sweaty, his lips crushing mine. You're more dangerous when you're like this, he groaned as he kissed down my stomach. Half fury, half goddess. And when he slid between my legs, tongue dancing in wicked circles, I forgot the world. Lucienne, I cried as he drove me to the edge again, over and over. We didn't just train, we claimed, we collided, we consumed each other. But power, once awakened, cannot be tamed. One evening, after an especially rough night of passion, I stood naked at the mirror and saw my eyes glowing gold. Lucian came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. You're changing, he whispered. You're not just mine now. You're becoming something more. Does it scare you? I asked. He spun me around, kissed me breathless. Nothing about you scares me, but I'll destroy anyone who tries to take you. I leaned into his touch, heart thundering. Then stay close, because I can feel it, Lucian. The war is coming. And in the shadows behind us, something stirred. The days leading up to the blood moon were both euphoric and terrifying. My bond with Lucian grew stronger by the hour, but so did the whispers that haunted the walls. Some nights I'd wake drenched in sweat, my heart racing, and find Lucian already awake beside me, his blade resting on the nightstand. They're getting closer, he'd say, his voice raw. I feel them. But instead of fear driving us apart, it drew us closer. We made love with a desperate hunger, like each touch could be our last. On the balcony overlooking the cursed forest, he lifted me onto the stone railing, kissing me until my lips were bruised, then sliding into me so slowly I forgot how to breathe. You belong to me, he growled into my neck. And I'll fight the gods themselves to keep it that way. That night, something shifted. After hours of tangled limbs and whispered confessions, Lucian lay beside me, tracing my bare skin with his fingers. There's something I haven't told you, he murmured. I turned to face him, the moonlight catching the fire in his eyes. When I was born, the prophecy said my mate would either destroy me or save me. My breath caught. And you think it's me? I know it's you, but I don't know which fate you bring. I kissed him then, deep and slow, and whispered, then we choose our fate, together. That night, we didn't just make love. We promised each other forever. Every touch was a vow, every moan a sacred spell. But forever is fragile in a world of monsters. During a feast in the underhall, the court gathered to honor our bond. I wore black lace and fire crystals, Lucian in a crimson cloak lined with demon teeth. He stood beside me like a shadow king, his hand never leaving mine. And still, the betrayal came. He carried me to our chamber, laying me gently on the bed. Don't speak, he ordered, ripping open a vial of black flame elixir. Drink this. I did, coughing as the burn licked down my throat. You'll live, he promised. But now the war starts. I reached for him, needing his warmth. Then love me, I begged. If everything burns tomorrow, love me tonight. He looked torn, fury and love crashing inside him. But then he kissed me, hard, hungry, trembling. He undressed me slowly, reverently, as if memorizing every inch. And when he slid into me, he whispered brokenly, If this is our last night, I want to die inside you. We moved like wildfire and rain, fast, slow, fierce, aching. And when we climaxed together, magic exploded around us, gold and black, sealing us in a cocoon of flame and light. We didn't sleep. Instead, we held each other beneath the blood moon, hearts pounding in sync. "They want to break us," I whispered. "Then let them try," Lucian answered. "You're not just my queen anymore, Alina. You're my equal, my weapon, my mate in darkness and desire." I traced his lips with my finger. "And you're the only devil I'll ever worship." He kissed me again, slow and deep. "Then come with me," he said. "Let's bring the war to them." And in that moment, I wasn't afraid. Because I knew, no matter what came next, I had the devil's sun wrapped around my soul. And nothing burns brighter than love fueled by fire and vengeance. The following days blurred into battle plans, arcane rituals, and stolen touches in the dark. Lucian never left my side. His rage burned under every word he spoke to the council, but in private, he softened, only for me. One night, after a secret meeting with the shadow wraiths, he returned soaked in blood. I rushed to him, panicked. "It's not mine," he murmured, pulling me close. "But I needed you. I needed to feel alive again." I undressed him, slowly, silently, my fingers brushing over every scar like I was claiming them. Then I kissed him, tenderly at first, until need took over and we stumbled into the bed, tangled in sheets, in shadows. He took me fiercely that night, his lips silencing my cries, his hands gripping me like I was his only anchor to this world. But love is never safe when enemies lie in wait. The next morning, a storm of black feathers rained from the castle skies, a warning from the high priestess of Ashmore. Her seal shimmered across the clouds. "She knows we've bonded," I whispered. Lucian's eyes darkened. "Then, she knows I'll never obey her again." He turned to me, his jaw set. "We must leave tonight, to the Crimson Peaks, the only place strong enough to shield us from her reach." I nodded, though fear gnawed at me. "What if she follows?" "Then we fight," he said simply. "With our love, with our blood." That night before we fled, we made love under the candlelight, slow, reverent, desperate. His mouth worshipped every inch of me, and when we joined, I felt our magic coil like fate itself was watching. I moaned his name like a prayer. He held me like I was his salvation. The Crimson Peaks were as dangerous as they were beautiful. Crimson ice, howling winds, and creatures that fed on lust and secrets. We stayed hidden in a forgotten temple of fire. There, our love deepened beyond the physical. Lucian taught me ancient spells of protection. I taught him how to let go. "You don't have to be your father's son," I told him, my hand resting over his heart. "You're mine now." He kissed me like it was the only truth he'd ever believed. That night, he bound me to the altar, silken rope, a ritual of love, not pain. "Do you trust me?" he asked. "With everything," I breathed. And then he worshipped me, body and soul, his mouth teasing, his fingers exploring, his voice a low promise in the dark. "I'll make you forget the world." And he did. But peace is a lie when devils play their games. On the third night, a demon of bone and fire appeared at the temple doors, calling Lucian by his birthright. "Your father summons you, Prince of Ruin," it rasped. I clutched his hand. "Don't go." "I must," he said, pain in his eyes. "But I will return. And when I do?" He knelt before me, pressing his lips to my belly. "I will never leave again." I didn't realize it at first. The swell of warmth in my body, the magic flaring inside me. But as he left, something in me changed. I wasn't alone anymore. I carried his legacy inside me. His child. Lucien's return was days of agony away. I waited, guarding our secret, battling shadows that clawed at the edges of the temple. When he finally burst through the doors, bloody, broken, and furious, I ran to him, tears streaming. You came back, I whispered. Of course I did, he said, pulling me into his arms. Nothing could keep me from you. I kissed him hard, then softer, then with every ounce of longing I'd buried. I have to tell you something. His hand stilled on my waist. I'm carrying your child. For a long beat, he said nothing. Then, slowly, reverently, he dropped to his knees and pressed his cheek to my stomach. You've given me everything, he whispered, tears in his eyes. Now I will destroy the world to protect it. The temple pulsed with ancient power the night after Lucian learned I carried his child. He didn't say a word at first. He just stared at me, eyes blazing, jaw clenched, as if trying to etch the moment into eternity. Then suddenly, he swept me into his arms and carried me to the obsidian throne deep inside the temple chamber. I want to mark you, he said, body and soul. I gasped as he laid me across velvet cushions, slowly undressing me with a reverence that made my skin burn. His hands roamed with purpose, his lips branding every inch of me with kisses that dripped with worship and possession. When he finally entered me, it wasn't rushed. It was raw, slow, and deep, like he was imprinting himself inside me. Say it, he whispered against my ear. Say you're mine. I'm yours, Lucian, I moaned. Always. The next morning we woke entangled, sheets discarded, limbs bare, breaths still synced. He kissed my stomach, murmuring in the old tongue, as if casting blessings over our unborn child. But the peace was short-lived. The skies outside the temple turned blood red. She's coming, Lucian said, rising from bed with fire in his eyes. The high priestess won't allow our child to be born. We began preparing for war, calling upon allies of light and dark, but between strategy and sorcery, we still found each other. On the cold floor of the scrying chamber, he took me again, rough and wild this time, hands gripping my thighs, tongue trailing down my throat. If we die tomorrow, he growled, I'll make tonight unforgettable. My cries echoed through the temple as he brought me to the edge over and over until we collapsed, shaking, whispering love between ragged breaths. Midnight fell, and with it came the Shadow Army. Wraiths of ash, cursed beasts, and traitors from Lucian's past, all seeking to rip our love apart. We fought side by side, my spells tearing through monsters, his hellfire carving paths of ruin. But in the chaos, I was struck by a blade forged in hate. I collapsed, blood spilling across the marble. Lucian's screams shattered the battlefield. He ran to me, falling to his knees. No, 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 stay with me, he begged. I can't lose you. I gripped his hand, pain blinding. Protect our baby. He kissed me then, desperate, trembling, pouring magic into me, chanting a forbidden spell. Light burst from his chest into mine. And just before the world went black, I felt his love wrap around me like a vow. Come back to me, Alina, he whispered. I won't breathe without you. I awoke days later in the sacred pool beneath the temple. Lucian knelt beside me, eyes red, voice cracking. You almost died. His hand cupped my cheek. I gave up a piece of my soul to save you. Tears spilled down my face. Why? Because I'd rather be damned than live a day without you. That night we didn't speak. We didn't need to. We made love in the sacred waters, surrounded by glowing runes and drifting candlelight. Every touch was gentler, every kiss longer. He slid into me with aching reverence, holding me like I was glass. You're everything, he whispered, moving inside me with the rhythm of a slow-burning fire. You're my eternity. Our cries mingled with the sound of the water as we clung to each other, two broken souls who had found peace only in each other's arms. But fate wasn't finished with us yet. The high priestess appeared in a storm of violet fire, her voice ringing across realms. That child shall never rule. Lucian stood before me, shielding me. Then you'll have to kill me first. A great battle loomed, but even as dangers circled, we clung to one final night. Just us. In our private chamber, with moonlight on our skin, we gave in to passion like it was our last breath. He lifted me onto the balcony railing, kissed down my neck, then sank into me under the stars. Let the gods watch, he said darkly, thrusting into me. Let them see I'll burn kingdoms for you. I arched into him, crying out his name, lost in the firestorm of our love. And when we finally collapsed, he whispered against my lips, Tomorrow we fight. But tonight, you're mine. The night before the final battle, the air was thick with both desire and dread. Alina stood before Lucian in a sheer midnight blue robe, her skin glowing in the flicker of candlelight. Her eyes burned with determination and love. If we don't make it back, I want you to remember me like this, she whispered. He moved to her, slowly, like a predator stalking his prey. I'll never forget anything about you, he growled, ripping the robe open and lifting her into his arms. He laid her down on their war table, maps and plans tumbling to the floor. Let me worship you one last time. His lips descended on hers, and soon they were lost in a wild dance of need and heat. Hands tangled, breaths. Their bodies moved in sync, hers arching beneath him, his thrusts growing rougher with each cry of pleasure. Say it, he commanded, biting her neck. Tell me you're mine. I'm yours, she moaned, wrapping her legs tighter around his waist. Only yours. Her climax hit her like lightning, tearing a scream from her lips. Lucian followed, growling her name like a curse and a prayer. He collapsed onto her, heart pounding against hers. No matter what happens tomorrow, he murmured into her hair, my soul is already yours. She cupped his face, eyes brimming with unshed tears. Then come back to me. Promise me, Lucian. His lips brushed hers. I will, even if I have to claw my way through hell again. The next morning dawned with blood-colored skies. Alina stood cloaked in enchanted armor, her belly just beginning to swell with their child. Lucian kissed it tenderly before riding off to lead his army. On the battlefield, chaos reigned. Fire met steel, spells lit the air, and the high priestess descended in a chariot of bone and flame. She struck Alina with a curse meant to kill both her and the child, but Lucian intercepted it, his body glowing red-hot as it absorbed the blow. You'll pay for that, he roared, wings of smoke bursting from his back as he transformed into his devil form, horns, claws, and all. He ripped through the high priestess's minions, fighting like a god of vengeance. Alina, fueled by rage and love, chanted the ancient incantations only the true queen of the underworld could wield. But as victory neared, the high priestess drove a dagger straight through Lucian's heart. Time froze. Alina screamed so loud the heavens cracked. No! She ran to him, catching his falling body. Don't you dare leave me! Blood pooled around them. Lucian's eyes fluttered open. Remember our night, he rasped. The balcony! The stars! His hand reached for her cheek, then dropped. Everything shattered. Alina screamed, releasing a wave of raw power that obliterated everything in a 100-mile radius. Darkness consumed the world. But as her tears hit Lucian's chest, a pulse of crimson light burst forth. You brought me back, he whispered hoarsely. She kissed him with a sob. Because you're mine too, Lucian. They returned home, battered but alive. Lucian's recovery was slow, his soul frayed, his body marked by magic. Alina never left his side. One night, as he lay in bed, she climbed on top of him, straddling him gently. You came back to me, she whispered. He cupped her breasts, eyes locked with hers. Always. Their bodies met again, slow, deep, and unbearably tender. He groaned her name as she moved above him, their rhythm unhurried, filled with aching need. I need to feel you, he breathed. All of you. She leaned down, kissing him long and soft. You have me, Lucian, forever. Their love made the shadows retreat and the world start to heal. And when they collapsed, tangled in sweat and kisses, Alina whispered, You're not just the devil's son. You're my king. Lucian's recovery had been a slow, painful process. His heart scarred from the betrayal of the high priestess. Alina refused to leave him, even as the world outside crumbled. One night, she traced the lines of his tattoos, feeling the pulse of his magic beneath her fingertips. Lucien, she whispered, what if we can't stop this war? His eyes, dark and fiery, met hers. We'll burn everything down before I let them take you from me. The tension between them crackled like wildfire. She leaned forward, pressing a kiss to his lips. I'm already yours. The kiss deepened, slow and desperate. He pulled her close, his hand gripping her waist as he lifted her onto his lap. Their bodies melded together as if they were one, skin against skin, heart against heart. The room spun, and they were lost in each other, nothing but heat and passion as they made love like it was their last night on earth. The next day, their enemies closed in. The high priestess had formed an alliance with the very forces Lucian had once ruled. Betrayal cut deeper than any blade. We're outnumbered, Alina said, her voice steady, but her eyes betrayed her fear. But we have something they'll never understand, Lucian replied, his gaze dark with determination. Love? They stood together, surrounded by their allies, creatures of magic, demons, and warriors. Lucian held Alina's hand as he stepped into the center of the battlefield. His transformation was unstoppable. Wings of flame, eyes burning with hellfire, he was no longer just the devil's son. He was a god of vengeance, and he would burn them all to the ground. But before the first blow was struck, Alina was torn from him. A shadowy figure appeared, her twin sister, Amara. Amara's eyes glowed with dark magic, and her voice was like velvet poison. You should have known, she whispered. You've been played, Alina. Lucian isn't the devil's son, he's the devil. The truth shattered Alina's world. Her love was the very force of destructor